This is your Barbados Today Evening News Update for Tuesday, April 9. Thanks for joining us. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. A St. Philip man lost all his possessions when fire destroyed his 3-bedroom wooden home around 11 o'clock last night. 71-year-old Edwin Brown of Harlington was at home when the blaze started. He quickly escaped to the outside, and this morning he told Barbados Today he's grateful to be alive.
I ain't feeling the way. What happened?
You just thank God for life.
Right. I lose my fridge. I lose everything, my possession. Chairs, table. Dining set table, mahogany, all the things, but $40 the last I had in my wallet. With all the documents, the receipt for the house, and all kind of different things, all the money. So that's it. I got no one people.
Brown says he's in need of help.
Right now, I don't have no way to bump my head. I got one big book. My family don't ever because they had the people ready for me. That's number one. Number two, I had some money there. The $40, and then I got walk with no break. So it's like a pop, no. I mean, I want something to drink or something in the bank. I had to hear that. Right? Then the other half would be. What would tell what the other half know? I don't know what to tell you, man. I got to be disgusted and exhausted.
Barbados has until June to meet 40 standards set out by the Financial Action Task Force to fight terrorism and anti-money laundering. Word of this from Attorney General Dale Marshall as he led off debate on the Companies Amendment Act in the lower house this morning. With about 8 weeks left to go and get the house in order, Marshall, however, says he remains confident that Barbados will meet its obligations.
These pieces of legislation that we are bringing today, while having not passed them at the time when we submitted that March report, as long as we can get these pieces of legislation enacted by mid-May, these will allow us to score even higher in that evaluation exercise.
The AG also served a notice that it won't be business as usual when it comes to setting up a charity in Barbados. That's because new legislation will see a more stringent procedure, which includes the provision of more information about the charity and its trustees. Marshall said the changes could not be avoided as Barbados continues to align itself with the demands of the Financial Action Task Force.
You will now have to provide the full names, addresses, and occupations and descriptions of the trustees. You will have to provide information on any properties that they own. You also will have to provide information on any applicant, trustee, or beneficiary who has held prominent public office or who has held prominent public office in any international organization.
Meanwhile, opposition leader Bishop Joseph Avali said the international financial requirements imposed on Barbados will benefit the country. Stressing that investment was critical to the economy, he warned that corrupt practices would only hurt the country.
Investment is extremely important. Now, what the international world will tell you is that you lose part of your investment appeal or attractiveness when you allow yourselves to be caught up in some of the bad tax practices, allow yourself to be caught up in some of the bad corporate practices that obtain right now, and so you have to correct that. So I'm saying, though we do these things because we're called upon by the international community to do these things, and we are part of that international community, there are some benefits which definitely are served at home.
Glowing tributes are pouring in for broadcaster, communications and advertising expert Fioma Ali, who passed away this morning. 39-year-old Ali, a popular voice on Capital Media HD 99.3 and a columnist of Barbados Today, has been described as the consummate professional. Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of Capital Media HD, Vic Finance, described his friend and colleague as an extraordinary person and professional.
This young lady that I met some 19-odd years ago, was perhaps for me the greatest find of my career. She was totally extraordinary. She could write, she could sing, her voice was beautiful, she played instruments. She just excelled at everything she did, and she was a broadcaster that was loved by everyone who came into contact with her beautiful spirit. This extraordinary human being, this person who came into our lives and made Barbados her home, who loved this country without parallel. This amazing person lived but a short life, but touched so many people and demonstrated in all that she did that excellence was her hallmark. Never an angry bone in her body, never not a hostile attitude towards anyone or anything. Always calm, always able to deal with every situation that arose.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To regional happenings, the People's National Party has been assessing its defeat in the Portland Eastern by-election held last Thursday. In a stunning upset, the Jamaica Labour Party and Marie Vaz beat the PNP's Damian Crawford by over 300 votes in the seat regarded as a PNP stronghold. But PNP officials say they are determined to move on together.
The party's loss in Portland Eastern and the continued leadership of Dr. Peter Phillips were among the issues discussed at last night's meeting of the PNP's executive. Andrea Moore, who had been doing her own campaigning in the constituency, had been seeking to represent the PNP since the last general election in 2016. However, she was again sidelined as a potential candidate, being replaced by Damian Crawford in the by-election. Speaking with our news center this morning, PNP Chairman Fitz Jackson said these differences contributed to the breakdown in the party's organization in the constituency. In the meantime, Mr. Jackson says PNP President Dr. Peter Phillips continues to enjoy the backing of the executive.
Further afield, a measles outbreak in Brooklyn, primarily among Orthodox Jewish children, prompted authorities in New York City to declare a public health emergency today. They have ordered unvaccinated people in the affected areas to get the vaccine or face fines. At a news conference today, Mayor Bill de Blasio said it's the city's largest outbreak since 1991.
This is the epicenter of a measles outbreak that is very, very troubling and must be dealt with immediately. The message today for all New Yorkers is to take measles seriously. This outbreak has been spreading. There are almost 300 cases already, overwhelmingly in Brooklyn. And to give you a sense of what troubling development this is, it's a huge spike. We saw only 2 cases in New York City in 2017. So we have a very serious situation on our hands. Today, we are declaring a public health emergency effective immediately. This will mandate vaccines for people living in the affected area. Department of Health will issue violations and fines to people who remain unvaccinated.
And that's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Good evening.